Alrighty, so I'm actually going to do the review of the Sunday action first before do the review of last night's Saturday night action, which we saw 9 games that happened last night. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I didn't really had a window today to sneak in a review of Saturday night action like I do in previous Sunday. It was virtually a triple header that we saw Sunday with all three of these games that were pretty much kicking off around the same time. But with that being said, in terms of today's Sunday action? Well, the big storyline coming out of the Sunday action is refereeing decision. And unfortunately, there were definitely some controversy when it comes to some of these games, especially for two of these games where the home team are going to be left very frustrated in terms of some of the refereeing decision that gone against them. And we start off with the first game between the Philadelphia Union versus Nashville SC. So coming in to today, and maybe a little bit of a spoiler alert in terms of me doing the review of the Dallas versus Vancouver game later tonight. Vancouver is still the only team to basically have a perfect record, and the Union was trying to match that, but unfortunately, they did not match that after this game because Nashville, for the first time in six try, they finally beat the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park. But again, it was not marked without any controversy that happened in this one, and I can understand why Union fans are very frustrated in terms of some clear refereeing decision that gone against them in this game. Now, in the first half, the Union was on the front foot as Nashville was sitting deep early. Nahar would have the first shot of the game, but he puts it wide. But on the second shot of the game, it's in the back of the net. It's Sam Surridge. He scored from Zimmerman to make it 1-0 in favor of Nashville SC. So it's been a great start for Nashville. Number 9 Sam Surridge there, which has got to be great news if you're a Nashville SC fan. But it feels like the Union backline went back to last season form. I mean, with how good the Union backline has been, and also their attack as well in the beginning of the season, it was kind of sad if you're a Union fan seeing that backline kind of went back to last season form, which is giving up tons of goals left and right. Jacques did try to respond, but he puts one that was actually spilled by Willis but Gatter on the attempt, and then the post denying Surridge, but it was recycled and actually fall right back to him as he got his own rebound, but he was denied by Blake in the front post. The Union had no answer early on in terms of these lethal transitional attack that Nashville has. It felt like, talk about the Union going back to last season defensive form. It feels like I'm seeing Nashville going back to the Gary Smith day when they were a very lethal team when it comes to the counter, because they were definitely doing that in this game, and they had a couple chances to make it 2-0. But nevertheless, in the 33rd minute, the Union does get the equalizer as Jovan Lukic has scored again here. So this is also got to be great news if you're the Union, because this signing, when it was first made, it was a lot of Union fans were saying it's a very underwhelming signing, but he's definitely delivered for this Union team, scoring goals left and right, and he scored an absolute banger and a half on the volley there to tie the game up at one apiece. Uru did look to take the lead for the Union, but was denied by Willis before Blake on the other end missed the ball on a simple back pass there, and he just about recovered that one before Mukhtar had a chance to pounce on that one and pretty much just hit it into the empty net. Again, this is start to be like what we saw last season with the Union. Some self-inflicted mistake in the defensive end that cost them goals. Quasim then puts one into the stands in the 37th minute. Another guy that has been a pretty big surprise and has done really well in his early days with Nashville. It's Ahmad Quasim. He's a guy that again kind of came out of nowhere when it comes to the signing. I didn't know too much about him and whether if he can perform in MLS. Well, so far he's definitely shown that, because as I mentioned, the defending seems like it was optional for both team up to this point, as both team look very sloppy at the back. In the 44th minute, Quasim would score for the second game in a row. He scored from Lovitz to make it 2-1 in favor of Nashville. Mukhtar looked for the third for Nashville, but he puts it over. The ref would then blow the halftime whistle before the free kick was being taken, and this is something similar to what we saw before where the referee decided to blow the whistle, even though there was a set piece that is being taken. I always find it weird when referee decided to do that, and obviously Nashville was not happy about that, especially with the way that they were about to take the free kick, and then the referee just say, "Yeah, you took too long. We're gonna just blow for the halftime whistle." So yeah, again, kind of a weird moment, but nevertheless, we do head to halftime with Nashville leading 2-1. In the second half, Willis would deny Gastek in the front post, and then this is where we get to the controversy because first of all, there was no penalty given to the Union at the hour mark as VAR deemed that Lovitz did not foul Uru in the box there. Now, when I saw how that VAR look took a bit of time, that's when I kind of had a feeling that yeah, this thing is gonna stand, isn't it? Because we've seen it before where when the referee look at it more than it should be and look to be maybe clear and obvious of being overturned when it's taking a long time. Maybe it's not clear and obvious, and hence that of course is the case. But when I look on the replay, and I think Union fans have a right to be mad about this. I think this should have been a penalty. You can clearly see Lovitz when he was making the slide challenge. He drive into Uru there in the box there. But nevertheless, VAR did not agree with me, my assumption here. So no penalty was given to the Union, and then a penalty was given to Nashville, and VAR once again had to intervene here as it deemed Glesnes found Mukhtar in the box. Now I think that is the right call with the way that Glesnes definitely made contact of Mukhtar as he jumped in there, but obviously that's not going to make any Union fans happy, especially not only conceding the penalty here, but where was this call back around the hour mark? I mean, at least there's got to be some sort of consistency. You got to shown in this league, and again, I don't want to beat the dead horse again in terms of consistency and the lack of it that is when it comes to call, but it's very frustrating to see that we're still talking about this in 2025, and here we go again with it. And this is also when the bottles started to rain down from the stands. Knowing this is in Philly, that's kind of sounds about right. And the ref you suck chant was rang very loudly after that VAR call was being made. And in the 82nd minute, here comes Mukhtar a chance to bury the from the spot. Now he has had his issue when it comes to scoring from the spot this season. In fact, Nashville has had their issue in terms of scoring from the spot as well. But this time Mukhtar would bury it, and he did the Panenka to score from the penalty. So yeah, that's definitely gutsy considering the fact that when you're a team that has penalty kick issue, that it takes it already takes a lot of cojones to score from a Panenka from the penalty spot. But when you're struggling from the spot and you try to do that, yeah, that is definitely something that just an ice in the veins kind of moment for Hani Mukhtar there. But that made it 3-1. He then looked for another one here in the 83rd minute, but he hits the side netting. On the other end, Blake would, or actually on the same end, that is, Blake would deny Schaffelberg as the flag went up. The referee was told that he sucked again because, yeah, the Union fans, they were getting very frustrated in terms of every call that got against them. But fortunately, they finally got a call that goes in favor of them, as this time they got a penalty, as Luke was brought down by Lovitz in the box there. So, yeah, Lovitz once again involved in that. It was pretty rough afternoon for Lovitz besides the assist that he had in the 44th minute. So here comes Quinn Sullivan a chance to step up, and I was kind of surprised that Quinn Sullivan was the one to take the penalty. Usually, I think it's Daniel Gastek the one that takes the penalty spot. Oh, I guess maybe Gastek got subbed off up to this moment, and yeah, in that penalty kick situation, knowing that Quinn Sullivan is not usually the penalty kick taker, we kind of saw why that is the case because he didn't hit a great penalty here. Willis read it all the way to deny him from the spot, but he did give up a rebound, and Dimani had a chance to get on the rebound there, but unfortunately didn't generate enough power before it hits it right to Willis. And then in the 12th minute of stoppage time, this is when frustration really started to get to the Union to a point where Makanya would get himself a straight red after committing a violent contact as he throw the ball into the face of Schaffelberg. Yeah, you can't do that. That is always going to be violent contact. So he's been sent off in that moment. And yeah, in the end, Nashville they uh they shock the Union in this one. And talk about big upset. There was definitely some big upsets this week, and the road team seems like they did relatively well this week as well, because out of these Sunday games, no home team were able to grab wins after this week. But Yeah, in the end, Nashville gets their first win against the Union at Subaru Park with a 3-1 win. The shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 11 that the Union has, 5 shots on goal compared to 4 that Nashville has, 4 shots off target compared to 2 that the Union has. Both teams had 3 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that Nashville has in this game. Now, obviously, the Union is going to be very upset in terms of the calls that got gone against them, but I think when you look at how this game turns out, I thought Nashville deserved all 3 points in this game. And again, the problem for the Union in this one, not just the fact that they were lacking in terms of the finishing department, but that defense just basically went back to last season mode, and that is something that is not 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 something that Union fans and certainly Bradley Carnell want to see. A team that last season, one of the main reason why they missed out on the playoffs is because they would just keep shooting themselves in the foot, making some self-inflicted mistake that caused them the game last season, and we kind of saw once again that was the case in this game as well. Albeit, yes, there were definitely some refereeing decisions that gone against them in this game. And speaking of refereeing decision that gone against them in this game, if you think Union fans are upset about the refereeing decision that gone against them in this game that cost them at least a point or even all 3 points, you can say the same thing about the Portland Timbers. And again, this is another game where we had a very controversial call late in this one, and one that I don't think the referee got it right in this moment. Now, early on in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Peck hits one that was deflected and goes wide. The Galaxy was on the front foot with the possession. The Timbers were electing to sit back early in this one. Ayala had a shot that was blocked off the line in the 7th minute, as I thought the Timbers were starting to push for the opener after the Galaxy got off to a good start. Cirillo then puts one into Timbers Army, and then for whatever reason, the Apple TV broadcast decided to have the PA announcer mic tune up all the way up to 100. I mean, it was kind of weird to hear that, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that kind of jump scare some people hearing that. Wait, why in the world am I hearing the public address announcer? On TV. I bet you probably don't even hear the public announcer say things that loud than what Apple TV does. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting moment. But in the 30th minute, Marino would hits one right to McCarthy off of the deflection. So John McCarthy, of course, getting his number one spot back, and rightfully so, because I think it was pretty clear that they had to pull the Novak Mikovic experiments. It was clearly not working in the first couple of games, and with McCarthy definitely being the better goalkeeper, no surprise that he gets his number one spot back in this game. But overall, both of these teams, I thought they seem to struggle whenever they get into the final third, and that's been the problem for both of these teams as well. As much as I was really hoping that this was going to be a popcorn affair like what we saw last season, part of me think that it's probably not going to be that, with the way that both of these teams are ranked among the lowest in the league when it comes to expecting see goal, and we kind of saw it in this game, and also in terms of chance creation as well. They're both of these teams are ranked among the lowest in the league, as well as both of these teams just have no idea what to do when they get into the final third. Cirillo then sliced it wide from close in the 37th minute before DaCosta puts it wide in the near post, and we do head to halftime with the score scoreless between both of these teams. It didn't take long before we get the opening goal of this game, as in the 49th minute, Felipe Mora would open the scoreline for the Timbers. He scored from DaCosta and Moreno to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead, and then he looked for another just 2 minutes later, but missed wide in the 51st minute, as I thought the Timbers definitely got off to the stronger start. The Galaxy clearly did not start on time in the second half. But in the 58th minute, Peck would puts one wide from close range before Pentimus had to deny Peck from close, as the Galaxy finally woke up after that slow start. It only took them giving up a goal to really start to get things going, and was looking to try to get the equalizer. Peck would then puts it just wide from close in the 63rd minute before Barry had a tap in there, but just couldn't quite poke that one in. He just couldn't get enough pace onto the ball to poke that one in. But there was no doubt the Galaxy were pounding on the door, and if you're the Timbers, this is not looking good for you. They're definitely on the ropes with the amount of defending that they had to do in this game. Pentemis then deny Lapley, and actually tip Lapley from long range out of a rocket shot as well. But in the 81st minute, the pressure finally paid off for the Galaxy, as Christian Ramirez would score for the second consecutive game for the Galaxy from Zonka to tie the game up at one apiece. I wrote that's been coming because with all the pressure the Galaxy have put, you just had a feeling the Timbers were gonna buckle. I mean, this is a Timbers defense that has had its issue when it comes to keeping clean sheet. It's hard to believe they actually had one clean sheet this season, but keep in mind that clean sheet that they got was against Austin FC, a team that also, like the Galaxy, struggle going forward on the attacking end. But with the way that the Galaxy were putting so much pressure on the Timbers ever since they got that opening goal, you just kind of had a sense that it was a matter of time before the equalizer was going to be scored. McCarthy, though, then denied Anthony, who looks for an instant response for the Timbers in the 83rd minute. And then in the first minute of stoppage time, this is the big talking point out of this game. So Lassiter puts this one wide after there was a huge shout for a penalty. There was actually a big shout for a penalty as Lassiter strike this one through. And it definitely looked like Garces brought down Paredes in the box. Now, what's also happened after this is that there was tempers flare between both of these teams. Obviously, both of these teams, there's no love that is lost whenever both of these teams play against each other. Both of these teams does not like each other whatsoever. But from what I also heard in terms of the explanation for the referee, they said that the reason why that they didn't give that as a penalty is because they played a advantage after Lassiter shoots that one, and because of that, that's why they're not going to go back in terms of that being a penalty. Yeah, I don't think that is a great explanation. And again, this is where I think one there is a gray area when it comes to this. When it comes to if you play advantage doing that point, and if there's like a shot that is being put, that doesn't mean that the referee doesn't pull it back and just call it a penalty as well. Because that is kind of how it's interpreted in MLS, and I'm pretty sure that's not the right way to interpret according to the law of the game. I'm assuming according to the law of the game, it doesn't matter if the shot is being taken. If there was a potential penalty that happened just a second ago before. After the shot is taken, the referee should still have the rights to pull this one back and say that and given a penalty. So yeah, again, that is something that I think is kind of interesting to see, and that's kind of something I don't usually see very often in MLS. In fact, I think this is really one of the first time I've seen a situation like that where the referee simply just did not give the penalty or pull back to the previous play just because a shot was already taken and being pulled wide there. And obviously, Phil Neville, being Phil Neville, decided to sound off in the post game press conference about that. Something tells me he's definitely going to get fined for that, and I'm pretty sure Timbers Army will set a go get fund me fund or what that website called in terms of getting fun. I couldn't really quite think of it at the top of my head, but they'll definitely trying to find ways to pay Phil Neville fines off because again I can understand the frustration in terms of that not being called and that again if MLS was going to implement the same rule of the law of the game where as a referee can actually pull back in terms of giving a penalty even when one of the attacker decided to strike it toward goal and miss his opportunity. Yeah, again, that's going to be something that I think could be a big talk point, especially for in pro perspective as well. But nevertheless, in the end, in a controversial ending, it ends in a one draw, and the shots in this one 14 shots compared to 9 that the Timbers had. Both teams had 4 shots on goal, 3 shots off target for the 4 that the Galaxy had, 6 shots off block for the 2 that the Timbers had, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to the 48% possession that the Timbers has in this game. And to make it even more frustrating out of this game in terms of that controversial call, I mean, it doesn't really like neither of these sides going to be happy coming out of this game. I mean, the Timbers will feel like they got robbed in terms of that call, and they have every right to be. And for the Galaxy, I mean, yes, they did finally end this winless or that this losing run that they had in the beginning of the season, but the winless run continued. They have now gone 4 games without a win, and as much as they had their moments when it comes to the attack as well. There were times where it was still the same problem that they had in the first 3 games of the season, where it doesn't matter whenever they get into the final third, they just at times lack ideas and don't have those difference makers that they have on their team to really put away their chances. And this is where, again, I think Greg Vanny team is going to have to try to labor this until when they get some of their key players back. Joseph Painto is one guy that they desperately want him back as soon as possible, and it seems like he could be back relatively soon. But I think the ultimate guy that the Galaxy really want back is Ricky Puig, and unfortunately, he's not going to be back until at the very least probably August and September. And this is where we'll see whether or not the Galaxy might even think about going to the transfer window, which probably they can't do because when you look at the cap situation that they're in, this is a really tough situation for the Galaxy, of course, are in, and part of that is definitely an unfortunate in terms of the cap situation, but part of it is also them kind of make there. I think when you look at the situation that they found themselves in, and there will definitely more. I'll definitely could create a video about the unfortunate cap situation the Galaxy found themselves in. Some of those decisions that they made were kind of questionable at time as well, and one of those has got to be sending Delgado to LAFC. I think that one was a big question mark as well. And even the Ramirez one. I mean, I know he scored again in this one, but he's definitely not been the Dejan Joveljic type of player that they really hope for when they bought him this offseason. Now moving on into the last game on this board, and this of course is the marquee matchup in terms of the Sunday action between Atlanta United versus Inter Miami. And I gotta say, Inter Miami got their revenge over Atlanta United, but for the latter part of the second half, especially late in the second half, I thought it looked like it was one of those games where Miami probably just gonna hold on to get a point, and maybe fatigue kind of started to wear down on him, and Atlanta is able to get the win. But unfortunately, yeah, this game, if you're a Five Stripe fan, this game feels very familiar to what we see with this Atlanta team for the past couple of years, where we always see this happen with Atlanta at the worst possible moment, especially late in the game. They switched off and they were punished because of it. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Muyomba miss wide from close range, but then in the 11th minute, they get the first goal of the game as Latte Laugh would score from Lennon and Almiron to give Atlanta United a 1-0 lead. And at that point, it was vintage Atlanta attack. So smoothly worked there from Atlanta United and capped off with Latte Laugh getting a goal there. And just like that, Atlanta were up 1-0. In fact, Atlanta was by far the better team early in this game. The shots were 3-0 in favor of them. And not only they have done a great job to limit any chances that Miami has going forward, but it looked like they want to make sure that there was no revenge in this game for Inter Miami. And then in the 19th minute, it looked like they made it 2-0 when Latte Laugh put it into the back of net. Problem was, the flag did not agree with him. So the goal was disallowed for offside. But again, you got a question in terms of the marking for Miami. That's twice in this game that they lost Latte Laugh in the box. I mean, when you have like the most expensive signing in MLS history in the box, you might want to think about marking him Inter Miami. But it didn't really matter because in the 20th minute, their golden goose come and rescue them again as Messi would score to tie the game up at one apiece, and it just came from a WTF turnover from Bartek Schleitz, which is kind of ironic because Schleitz was the guy that scored that crucial goal to win the game for Atlanta United in that pivotal game 3 last year. And yeah, now it feels like it's a reverse role with him committing a bad turnover here, and it won't be the only time that Atlanta turned the ball over in bad spot. I mean, there was just so many turnover that Atlanta committed in this one that they're probably very fortunate that they only gave up one goal because of those bad turnovers they committed throughout this game. Allende did look for a second, but he hits it right to Guzan before Suarez would miss wide from close range. And again, it came off of a bad giveaway from Atlanta, and they are very lucky the fact that it's not 2-1 in favor of Inter Miami, because with the way that Miami has been able to capitalize on these mistakes, especially Luis Suarez is another guy you definitely don't want to be at the end of a chance to capitalize on a turnover. Yeah, Atlanta is very lucky that this game is still tied up at one apiece. Messi then skies one from close range. Miami has definitely got into this game. I mean, it feels like after that equalizer that Inter Miami has scored, not only that has really stunned this Atlanta United team, but the momentum was now with the visiting team, and now you just kind of have a feeling for Atlanta. You got to ride out this pressure that Miami put on them up to that point. Amador then puts it high from long range in the 41st minute before Marinchuk hits it right to Rio's Novo. So again, Atlanta did a good job in terms of survive that initial pressure. They now look like they were trying to get the lead back. Though in the third minute stoppage time, Guzan would deny Messi on the half volley. So even though Messi finally did beat Guzan in this game, yeah, Guzan was basically saying, yeah, I'm gonna try not to allow another goal to Messi again. The referee was then told he really sucked after a free kick was given to Miami instead of Elena, and I think it was a situation where there was guys that kind of collide with each other at the same time, and both team was saying that that's their free kick, but instead the referee says it's a free kick for Inter Miami. So yeah, the fans obviously not happy about that. Certainly, Atlanta United players were not happy about that, but it was all for naught as we do head to halftime, tied up at one apiece in this game. In the second half, Alba would hits the side netting on the volley, and what a sweetly shot that was from Jordi Alba as well from the half volley. Latte Laugh hits it right to Rios Novo, and this is just kind of a microcosm of Atlanta United early early season where Lobjanitsa kind of got in his way there, and as a result, Latte Laugh just couldn't generate any power whatsoever. And I even wrote, don't know who's more frustrating in that terms of that moment. That moment actually all came because of a bad giveaway that Miami has themselves, or Atlanta probably should have retaken the lead if two of their own teammates probably shouldn't just get in each other way, and otherwise this probably should have been 2-1 in favor of Atlanta United. Guzan then absolutely robbed Messi on the doorstep of goal again. Guzan must have a vendetta against Messi. I guess maybe this has something to do with what happened in 2016, that Copa America game where Messi scored a couple of goals against Guzan, who was the goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national team for that game. Because yeah, he was not going to allow Messi to score another one up to this point. He really turned back the clock once again, and I even feel like it feels like we're still back in that playoff series again, where Guzan was single-handedly trying to stand on his head and just not allowing another goal, especially to Lionel Messi. Though on the other end, Rios Novos would deny Lobjanitse in the front post. Muyomba would then struck the post from long range, and that was a scorcher that was hit by Tristan Muyomba as well. Guzan then denied Ayande from close range. It just kind of become very end to end. This is when the game really started to become like El Trafico, where both teams was trying to press for this crucial second goal. Guzan then denied Messi again after another bad giveaway from Milana, and really as the time winds down, you kind of sense that maybe fatigue was starting to be there for Inter Miami. I mean, they were starting to kind of step back a little bit, not really kind of controlling the game you expect them to do so. Though in the 83rd minute, John De Silva would puts it over from the set piece, as Atlanta was definitely pushing for a winner. Miami, you can kind of sense that maybe fatigue was starting to catch up to them. They maybe just playing for a draw rather than a revenge. There was a huge shout for a handball that for Atlanta that was not given. I think it's the right call. I think it was Redondo, the one that Atlanta is pleading that he handball in the box, but when you look on that replay, there wasn't really a definitive evidence that he handballed that. I mean, it did kind of hit his hand, but at the same time, it looks like his hand was in an out wasn't in an outstretched position, and I think that would have been really harsh to call it a penalty, and especially because this is the Inter Miami, the referee ain't gonna call that play. But in the 88th minute, Messi had a shot that was deflected and goes wide, and again, it came off after another bad turnover from Atlanta United. How many times I've said bad turnover in this game? There was a lot of it in this game, mostly coming from the five stripe. But in the 89th minute, Miami does get the lead back. Or not get the lead back, but take the lead for the first time. They actually never had the lead up to this point. As Fafa Pico, of all player, would score from Jordi Alba to make it 2-1 in favor of Inter Miami. And what's kind of interesting is that of all the great save that Guzan, of course, made, and all the difficult save that Guzan has made, this is one that I think that he conceded that probably he should have done better. I mean, Pico, he was kind of heading this one while he was kind of off balance, and that header was relatively weak. Like it's almost like it felt like it was a slow motion goal that was being shown there. And yeah, again, Guzan kind of got caught flat-footed there when you probably should think that he shouldn't do so. And again, that's kind of, I guess that's kind of what we see with Brad Guzan during his latter years of Atlanta United career. He can make some incredible save, that is, and then there's also times where he shows why he's kind of starting to become a bit washed, and he's probably now near the twilight of his career, or in the twilight of his career, that is. But yeah, in the end, Inter Miami, they get their revenge over Atlanta United. They get the 2-1 win in this one. The shots in this one, 12 shots apiece for both of these teams. 8 shots on goal for the 4 that Atlanta has. 5 shots off target for the 3 that Inter Miami has. 3 shots off block for the 4 that Inter Miami has. And possession-wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that Atlanta United has in this game. And overall, very entertaining game. Really live up to the billing as well. I mean, when we see all these kind of marquee kind of matchup, you just hope that it can live up to this building, and I think this game definitely does that. But certainly, there's no doubt that Inter Miami would be the more happier side coming out with the win, and especially scoring a late goal, which is kind of something that we've seen a lot with Inter Miami during their time when Messi is in this team. You just simply have to lock it down throughout the whole 90th minute, and in this case, Atlanta just didn't quite do so. And even going back to that, as much as I mentioned, Guzan might be at the fault of that goal. You also got to question the defending there from Atlanta United. Just poor set piece defending there. They're just the entire defense just completely switched off there in that moment. And yeah, Rally Dahlia team, after that victory that they had on opening week against Montreal, they have not won a single game ever since, and they do not look like the team that should be making a huge jump like many people thought it's going to be. And this is where, when I made that prediction of Atlanta United finishing second place, oh boy, I'm already nervous the fact that I'm going to make the same mistake I made last year when I picked Atlanta to finish first, and in reality, they barely scrapped themselves in the playoffs. This could be something that could be similar to last season. I mean, part of that maybe is because, the attack seems like it's still in work in progress right now. It's going to take time before the chemistry begin. But I think the more concerning thing about Atlanta United is the fact that the defense has just been really poor this season, and this is kind of the thing that I think Atlanta is starting to make the same mistake that they made even in their early days in MLS, where they're so top heavy on the attacking end that they completely forgot about the defense, and the fact that the defensive liability is kind of the one of the biggest reason why Atlanta has not gone back to the true height that they had when they came into the league a couple of years ago. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of all 3 of these games. And like I said, I will do the review of the nine games that happened yesterday in just a bit after I finish recording this video. Well, I have to still erase the board here and still have to put up the other. There are a couple of games that happened last night as well. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.